So what is up, guys? Nick here, helping you to master your technology. iPhone 12 mini is here, and welcome to my unboxing video. If you've seen this phone already, well, stick with me anyway, because we're going to take a look at this in its entirety against some other phones as well. You see, iPhone 12 mini, USB-C to lightning cable, no charger in this boy, but it does support 5G sub-6 and millimeter wave technologies. We thought this thing was going to be called the iPhone SE2, but no, the SE 2020 second gen came out earlier this year in the form of an iPhone 8 body. Let's go ahead and get into this phone right here and waste no more time. We'll go ahead and open this up. And I decided to go with the black because I've heard good things about this color and it looks fantastic in person right here. Let's put that off to the side and show you what does come in the box right here. You can see our lightning cable to USB-C. I would like to see a dual-sided USB-C in the future, but nope. And you could see SIM card tool right there, one Apple sticker. No more two Apples. Apple's trying to reduce the amount of stuff they're putting in the box, and with a small iPhone SE, the box is even smaller. So this is going to be obviously the smallest box of the bunch right here. But over here on the front, we'll go ahead and peel this off, and we'll go ahead and boot this thing up. Now, first thing I'm feeling in my hand is it's petite. It's definitely a small little phone, feeling very similar to years past, like the original iPhone SE almost, just a little bit taller, just a little bit bigger. So you can see right there. I'm going to go ahead and just breeze through this boot up process so we can talk more about the phone itself. Okay, guys, so we are now in the iPhone 12 mini, and really to get a sense of scale, you need to see this next to the iPhone 12, just how small this phone really is. It is a petite size. Now, one thing I will say though is, unlike with the iPhone SE, the original edition, the iPhone 12 mini still feels a little bit bigger. It is actually a little bit bigger, but the screen gives the illusion that it's a little bit of a bigger phone because it's stretching the entire display. That 4-inch display on the iPhone SE made it feel really tiny. This one, not quite as small, but it's still a very small phone. It's smaller than basically anything with 5G out there and anything that's modern. So this thing is a tiny phone if you like tiny phones. Now, the iPhone 12 mini only weighs 135 grams. This thing basically weighs nothing. It's incredibly light, and that's a great thing. I want to showcase a little bit more of the body before we continue on. You'll notice that it looks identical to the iPhone 12. If we go around the edges right here, identical. The design squared edges, just like you might have enjoyed from the old 5S days, the iPhone 5 days, and a not very sticking out camera bump. So very nice there, but dual cameras on a small body. That's really nice. You don't really see that from Apple in a while, a small iPhone with dual cameras. So that dual camera setup is going to offer you that ultra wide angle that you know and love, and also the standard wide. And of course, you can still zoom in a bit here on this phone. So having a pocket photography beast here in the 12 mini is going to be no problem for this little guy right here. Okay, guys, so another thing to keep in mind is because it's cramming a lot of pixels in such a small body, you are going to have the sharpest text on pretty much any of those newer iPhones that launch of the 12 series. So this one has 476 pixels per inch. Sharpest display on an iPhone right now. It might be the sharpest ever. Let me know if I'm wrong on that one, but I think this might be the sharpest density on any iPhone ever. So that's a neat thing as well. And again, the camera really is not doing justice how small this phone really is. Let me put this thing next to another iPhone. How about the iPhone 10 right here? So here's the iPhone 10, 5.8 inches. It looks tiny next to that phone right there. So definitely, guys, got to get your hands on this one if you really want a smaller iPhone. You've been looking out for that for a while. You've been saying these phones have been getting way too big for my style. Now, in terms of the software, this came with 14.1 on the first wave of these iPhones. I think as more ship out, they're going to ship out with 14.2, but if you pick yours up soon or you're getting it within this next week, you're probably going to have to update to 14.2, which I do recommend you do. And I went with the 128 gig storage. It was like $50 more, and definitely worth having the extra storage if you know you're going to be using this phone a lot, which I plan to do. I don't plan to just, review this one and not use it much. I plan to really put my SIM card in here and run this one hardcore and give you a full review on it. Now, in terms of the cameras, we don't really have to talk much about them. They are the same cameras that were found in the iPhone 12, which do support wide angle. And in video, it does have HDR video. You can disable this in camera as well, but it's going to give you a much more colorful video experience. Of course, you're not going to get it in 4K 60, so it'll drop out of that super saturated high dynamic range. But again, 4K 60 on the rear and on the front. This is a through and through a flagship phone when it comes to specifications, even though it's being crammed into a 5.4-inch body. Apple does not sell phones with cheap processors, cheap specs. They do a good job at making all their phones feel relatively premium, and the iPhone SE, I just called this the SE, the iPhone 12 mini is no exception here. I do want to talk a bit about the 12 mini's battery life, because this thing only has a 2227 milliamp hour battery. So this battery is not the largest you're going to find on the market. It's actually one of the smallest, but can you blame Apple? I mean, it's hard to get a phone this light with a huge battery. It would weigh it down. It also would take up space and would be harder to make this phone as small as it is. So it's a sacrifice you're going to have to trade off. If you want the smaller size, you're going to have to trade off a little bit of battery life. We will go ahead and talk about that in the full review. I'm going to be watching how this does in day-to-day. I expect great standby time, but in usage, I expect this to drain faster than the iPhone, especially when 5G starts to enable and hit that battery life on the iPhone 12 mini. So let's talk about typing with one hand, because this is going to be one of the reasons why you might want to pick this phone up. Even if you don't have massive hands, hey, this is a test. This should still be pretty easy, even if your hands are a bit smaller. Hey, this is a test. So this is going to be extremely easy to one thumb. The side-to-side action is not that wide. Like, it's not a super wide phone. So your side-to-side action on this phone is going to be really easy for the 12 mini. So bringing back that ability to type with one hand is a definite win for me. And I think if you like doing that, for you as well. Some people like a wider keyboard so they can double thumb type and be a lot more accurate. But the iPhone keyboard is super accurate to begin with, and it now has swipe, which came with an older version of iOS. So, I mean, it's going to be super easy to type on this phone. Really easy. Phone call quality should improve with the 12 mini as well, with Qualcomm modems and 5G. I have been having great experience with the 12 series themselves, so we'll see how the mini does. I expect it to be basically identical. And let's take a look at the video audio. Technology, iPhone 7 versus iPhone 12 speed test. Let's begin. So Apple definitely didn't skimp on the speakers. The speakers are plenty loud even on this smaller iPhone 12 mini. With a boot up in 3, 2, 1. Gosh, this phone is just going to be amazing for those of you who are out and about a lot, or even if you're not out and about and you're staying home due to the lockdown stuff, even people who just like a compact, portable, pocketable phone. The iPhone 12 mini is going to be bringing back nostalgia of the past, honestly. So let's take a closer look at the body one more time before we compare it to some other phones. You can see a big power Siri button right there, antenna line there, and down here an antenna line. And then over here we do have, you can see that the back is glass, so it will pick up fingerprints. And then right here is more like the texture of the 12 Pro series. They kind of flip them, so clean camera. You're not going to get dirt up here in the camera, so keep that in mind. Also, dual cameras right there, Apple logo, no iPhone logo, at least here in the US. It's not required to have the FCC branding down there. And you could see right here the silent switch, definitely classic iPhone right there. We do have ourselves the volume rockers, SIM card tray on the left, and antenna lines. This is reminding me a lot of the older, I think it was a space gray iPhone 5. So definitely really nice there. At the top, there is nothing. And then at the bottom, we do have ourselves the lightning port, speaker, and microphone. So overall, I mean, guys, notch, I forgot to mention the notch. The notch doesn't seem any different than it seems on the other iPhones. Some people were thinking, oh, because it's a smaller phone, the notch is going to stand out even more. Not really. It kind of just looks like the other iPhones, just shrunken down. So last thing we do before I get out of this unboxing is we're going to compare it to some other smaller phones out there. We already did the SE. We showed you the 12. Let's take a look at the SE 2020 though. You can see that was formerly a pretty small phone as well here in the iPhone SE 2020. So this is not a big phone either. And it definitely looks big compared to the iPhone 12 mini due to the bezels. It does have a smaller screen though. Keep that in mind. smaller screen. So it's actually pretty easy to reach on the SE as well over the iPhone 12 mini. The 12 mini is going to be a similar reach, but the width, a little bit better on the 12 mini. This is a pretty comparable size to the 12 mini, but still the mini is still more mini than the SE 2020. But if you want to save money and still want a smaller iPhone, this is going to be a great option as well. Let's take a look at some Android phones that were previously really nice, small, or more compact, you can say, phones. The Galaxy S10e. Samsung didn't bring this back with the Galaxy S20 series, which I think was a mistake. They probably should have. Hopefully they bring in the S21, a mini version, but the S10e looks huge compared to the mini. The S10e was not a big phone. It was a pretty good sized phone, I would say right there. But compared to the mini, that's a pretty big phone. How about this Xperia compact phone right here? I think there's an XD2 compact. You can see this is pretty close in size to the 12 mini, but it's a lot thicker, a lot chunkier than that phone. But this is pretty close in the size. The mini still slightly, ever so slightly more mini. And then we have the Google Pixel 5, a favorite of many right now. This is a pretty good size in the Pixel 5. If you think the mini is slightly too small and you want something from Android, this is definitely a pretty petite phone, but the mini is still more mini than the Google Pixel 5. And we don't even got to compare this to Max phones. You already know this thing is a baby compared to those. And so that's my initial unboxing of the 12 mini. My first impressions are, I absolutely love this device already. I don't even need to set it up to know that. And I don't even care if the battery's a little bit less, because what you're getting here is something unlike anything on the market right now, because everything has went to bigger screens. Even Apple did, but Apple has returned to their small phone glory here with the iPhone 12 mini, and they basically don't have a lot of competition. So if you want a small phone, a 5G phone, a premium phone, and you don't want to sacrifice things just to get a smaller phone, like a cheaper display, cheaper things, the 12 mini has got your back. But I will be covering this in depth and let you know how disappointed I am in that smaller battery and more. So be subscribed for that, and let me know your thoughts on the 12 mini. Did you pick one up? Do you plan on picking one up? And any videos you want to see going forward, leave them down below in the comments. Thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for watching. Nick here, helping you to master your technology. Be sure to be well, and peace.